What's going on, eighth grade? We're going to finish up chapters 28 and 29 here quickly. My video clips aren't going to be long. I'm just going to kind of explain what you're talking about here and what we're going over. 28, section 1 today and section 2 tomorrow. All right. And we'll try to bang out sections 2, 3, 4 next couple of days, get into 9/11, and that'll really complete it before we get into our final. All right. So, really, what we're just going to focus on is we did civil rights is over, Vietnam is over. Theoretically, we're up to, mid 1970s, late 1970s, which we're going to talk about. So, here, Jimmy Carter, all right, is going to win the election. And what I'm going to do, and there'll be no homework on this, all right, I'm just going to post the worksheet. I'll post the answers. You can write it down so that you have it for the final. All right, Jimmy Carter is going to take office after President Ford, and he's got high hopes. He's going to try to restore the American popularity in the world and the economy. Unfortunately, the late 1970s drastic fall in the economy. Gas prices went up. People lost their jobs. Taxes were rising. You'll see here that President Carter had a really tough time with relationships with Iran and the Middle East, which we'll get into. Okay, and you can read this. All right, here's President Carter. All right, here he is trying to work with the Middle East to have some accomplishments. All right, here's Iran. Here's the United States. I want to go over this. All right, President Carter is going to try to work with Iran to try to stabilize the region right here. And right here is an interesting point of the world that I want to start talking about, all right, because the Cold War is on the verge of ending. All right, it's not really here anymore. Here's, Japan. This was World War II. Here, Vietnam is down here. Korea is here. The Soviet Union. This becomes the new hotspot of the United States in the world, the Middle East. Okay, Iran and Israel and Kuwait and Iraq and Afghanistan and Yemen and Saudi Arabia. This region right here. Okay. Um, and things are going to go really bad for Jimmy Carter. The Iranian government is going to seize the American embassy in Tehran, which will be where the capital of Iran, holding 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. And basically, President Carter is unable to get those hostages, those American hostages, released. Okay, at this time, you also had two different groups in government forming: liberals, all right, and political conservatives. All right, liberals are kind of tied to a Democratic Party, and conservatives more to a Republican Party. All right, and everybody asks, what's the difference between a liberal and a conservative? Well, here they are. All right, liberals favor government action to regulate the economy. They support large government interventions like the New Deal from FDR and the Great Society by President Johnson. Conservatives want a smaller size of government. They want states to have power, lower taxes, less government regulation of business. And what's going to happen is by the end of the 70s, early 80s, here is Iran, here is Tehran. All right, this was the leader of Iran who took those hostages. All right, here's a picture of them. All right, they're burning the American flag in Iran. These are Americans who worked at the embassy who are now hostage of the army of Iran. Here they are burning the flag on top of the embassy. This is a devastating blow to Jimmy Carter. And it's kind of an introduction to American involvement in that region. Okay, it's going to foreshadow a lot of things that are going to come down the road. Here are the Iranian citizens taking the U.S. embassy. Okay, and by the 1980 election, all right, Carter's president from 76 to 80. Ronald Reagan emerges, all right, as this Republican candidate, the former governor of California, and he asked the Americans a question. All right, it's a great slogan. Are you better off now when you were when Carter took office? And Reagan is going to win the presidency, okay, by a landslide. And here he is, the fourth president, the 40th president from 81 to 89. All right, and his nickname is the Great Communicator. He's a former Hollywood actor. All right, he's the governor of California who now becomes the president. And interesting picture here at his inauguration. Here is former President Jimmy Carter, who he just beat. He makes the inaugural speech. He takes over, and immediately upon taking over, those 52 hostages are freed from Iran because President Reagan threatened to use the military to go get them. All right, Reagan was not scared to use the military. Reagan was not scared to threaten to use the military, and to end the Cold War, which is something we'll talk about. Reagan's going to be the guy who ends it. All right, now there's a lot of money spending that goes with that and some problems that went with that. But as far as 1980 comes along, Reagan wins the election. The Iranians release the Americans. President Reagan takes over, and he's focusing on two things: one, ending the Cold War, and two, focusing the beginning of this region right here, which foreshadows a lot of what we'll cover, especially at the end of this. So there'll be a worksheet up there, guys, with the answers. I'll post it, plus this video clip, plus the vocabulary. You don't have to, there's no homework for it. You just completed a test. All right. And tomorrow I will finish this, getting into a lot of the Reagan years, the end of the Cold War, that carries us into next week so we can finish everything to start talking about your finals and review. All right, if you have any questions, send me a text or an email. Take care.